I put a little question sticker up in my Instagram story asking you guys what YouTube videos you wanted, and literally over 50 of you said that you wanted this video. So welcome to all these specific book recommendations. I cannot wait to give you your book recommendations. I'm not sure what it is, but my followers on Instagram are like the funniest, most interesting, most different, most not like other girls, most amazing people in the entire world. And I'm not even being dramatic, like you guys are so fucking funny. The oddly specific book recommendations that you guys came up with for this video were so funny. I was like in bed last night, like laughing so hard. I'm so excited to do this video. I actually wasn't going to film this video for like 4 more days, but I was so excited to give you guys the recommendations that you asked for last night that I'm filming it today. I'm just like way too excited. Anyways, let me get right into it and start giving you your oddly specific book recommendations. I am so excited. Also, if you want to be involved in these videos in the future, I'll link my Instagram in the description. It's just Diaries of Creativity. It's a super good vibe over there, and I'm constantly asking you for video recommendations and then like input on videos like this. So yeah, feel free to follow it or don't. It's whatever you want. I post every day though, and I think it's good content. A book that will make me want to run away and live in a forest. I have the perfect recommendation for you. Dreamwork by Mary Oliver. It's literally a Pulitzer Prize winner for poetry, so if you don't believe me, believe the Pulitzer Prize. This book is good, but Mary Oliver is really amazing. Her poetry really, and this book in particular, has an emphasis on nature and how we are most ourselves. We find ourselves in nature. It really just makes you want to like put on a fucking backpack and walk around in the dirt for 10 days. So good. It really makes you appreciate nature. Really makes you want to touch grass. Truly. The entire book is Mary Oliver saying, touch grass, babe. Touch some grass. You need it. Books that would make a long commute a bit less overwhelming. This is off personal experience, but I personally listened to Jennette McCurdy's I'm Glad My Mom Died when I was traveling from Santiago to Barcelona. It was a 13-hour train ride in Spain last year. I'm recommending the audiobook specifically because I think audiobooks are the vibe for commutes, and first off, obviously if you're driving, and second off, even if you're a passenger, I'm gonna get car sick if I'm reading for that long, so audiobooks is the way to go. But I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy is just so engulfing. It's such an interesting story. Jennette McCurdy has gone through so much, and she's so wise and has such amazing things to say, and she tells her story so eloquently. But at the same time, it's really accessible language. I don't feel like I'm like having to Google words or I'm like, what's happening? She kind of just tells it how it is, and for that reason it really just feels like you're listening to a friend tell you her life story, and I think it's so easy to just get like so deeply engulfed in it very quickly, and for that reason I think it's a great one for a commute, because I was on a 13-hour train ride listening to it. The train ride felt like 5 hours. It went by so quickly because I was like so engulfed in this story and like so loving it, so I definitely recommend it. Books for when I'm extra angry and raging, specifically at men. I'm going to recommend you a book that's going to make you hate men even more. I'm so sorry if what you meant by this recommendation is that you wanted one that would make you like men more. This will not do that, so proceed with caution, but Nightcrawling by Leila Mottley is absolutely a book that's going to make you curse the ground that men walk on. It will make you want to cry. It made me literally cry. But it follows a young woman who is impoverished, doesn't really have parental figures, and her brother has kind of also just kind of fucked off and not really helped her like make money to pay rent, and she ends up becoming an escort in order to make ends meet, and it follows a really dark path that happens because of this, of men taking advantage of her and just being in really scary situations. And it is, unfortunately, it's not even like an extremely dramatic story in the way that like this is a reality for a lot of people. So well written. I felt like the characters were like jumping off the page at me. The dialogue was so accurate to how it would actually sound. It was, yeah, you need to read, you need to read, you need to read. A book that will get to know me, get access to my heart, tear it to shreds, and then put it back together again. Yup, I know what I'm gonna give you. Talking at Night by Claire Daverley. Who would have guessed? I'm always recommending this, and I will not be stopped. I will not stop anytime soon. I love this book. Talking at Night by Claire Daverley follows Will and Rosie, who are kind of into each other during high school, but then they have a really, really sad tragedy hit, and then they kind of fall apart, then fall back together, then fall apart, then fall back together. It's like, you know that like episode in The Office where Michael keeps getting circumcised and then uncircumcised, and he goes, snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. That is the whiplash that this book gives you.
I said that I wanted to have kids, and you said that you wanted me to have a vasectomy. What did I do? And then, when you said that you might want to have kids, and I wasn't so sure, who had this vasectomy reversed? And then when you said you definitely didn't want to have kids, who had it reversed back? Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. I did. Okay. You have no idea the physical toll the 3 vasectomies have on a person.
I literally was like, my heart was breaking, and then it wasn't, and then it was breaking again, and then I was so happy, and then I was at the lowest of lows, and then I was kind of addicted to it, and then I hated it, and then I loved it, and I want to read it again. It was so good. Yeah. Yeah, this. Simply this. My nose is itchy, my eyes are itchy. Maybe it's from me being on my like 90th minute of filming. I'm falling apart. I'm just like overstimulated. Okay. I'm losing it. Okay, this next ask kind of hits home a little bit too much. When you want to do so much, but you're afraid to fail, so you end up doing nothing. First off, we have a diva down, guys. Our diva is down. That's okay, I've been here before. And I'm going to prescribe you The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. I love this book, I just finished it. Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath it was published as fictional, but then it is pretty autobiographical of Sylvia Plath's own life, but we're going to treat it as fictional in this video. So it follows Esther Greenwood, who is an aspiring writer, a student in New York City in the 1950s. She works for a fashion magazine, and she just really wants to like be a writer, and she wants to pursue, she's like so creative, and you can tell that she has so much she wants to say, and she's just like struggling with these like really complicated ideas of like feminism and what it is to be a woman and what it is to be a mother, and if she even wants to be a mother, and like these like patriarchal pressures that are being placed on her, and she's just like really struggling with them and struggling to like know what her place is in this world, and she's having a lot of suicidal thoughts throughout this book, and you see her really grappling with them and not really being able to ever like make a change or change her life to be any better within this book. So I think it'll resonate with you. I think it's quite a dark book, and it's quite sad, but it's also quite eye-opening, and it makes you feel less alone in the kind of like stagnant situation of like never really being able to make change in your life and just kind of like staying in the same spot. That's a lot of what this book is. It's very introspective, and I think you're gonna like it in this time in your life when you're kind of thinking a lot but not taking much action. And also, as a side note, not every stage of your life is going to be a stage where you're like trying new things and doing new adventures and whatever. Like, a lot of times in our life is thinking and ruminating and deciding what to do next, and that's a totally fine stage of life to be at. So don't be too hard on yourself. I love you, and you got this. A book that feels comforting, like wild rice soup on a crisp autumn evening. I have no idea what wild rice soup is, but I would like to try it. It sounds comforting on a crisp autumn evening. The book that I'm going to suggest to you is The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Yep, so I definitely butchered that an embarrassing amount. It's French. This is technically a children's book, but it's also a classic because it is so good. If you haven't read this and you're a creative person, I need you to drop everything except for this video. Keep watching the video, please. Thank you so much. Do not exit out. I need you here. Please. Kidding. Do whatever you want. I won't hold you to it, but I will. The Little Prince follows a little prince who is so creative, but like no one really understands him, and he always is like making fun of adults. He's like, adults just don't understand that my art piece right now makes so much sense because of XYZ, and like adults just don't get it. Adults aren't creative enough, and I think it's just such a good, comforting read. And that book really just makes you like kind of miss your childhood in a very cozy way, but kind of remind you that you still can think like a child even though you're an adult. And I think it's just so cozy. It's a really quick read, like it's quite short. It's just like a great like cuddle up on the couch and read it and just feel like a kid again, and remind yourself how creative you are and to pursue those creative interests. And I think it's so good. Something intriguing and engaging that I should read on holidays, written by a woman. I love that you specified written by a woman. Slay. And I'm also realizing 4 out of 5 of the books I've already suggested are all written by women because that's what I like to read. But I'm going to recommend to you The School for Good Mothers by Jessamine Chan. This book, I think some people would not agree with this recommendation. I think there are two different types of readers when we're on holidays. I think one reader wants to read a relaxing book, just relax, they're on holidays, chill. And another type of reader, which I think this recommendation is for, and also who I am as a reader on holidays, I find myself when I'm on holidays, I like to read more hard-hitting books because I have the mental capacity to do so because I'm not working. I feel like after work is when I want to read a little bit more of a lighthearted read, but if I have a week off, I usually go for more of the hard-hitting books just so I can like think a little because I have more capacity available to me at those times. The School of Good Mothers is a dystopian novel that follows Frida, and we watch her as she's struggling to become a single parent. She wasn't supposed to be a single parent, but her husband was a fucking idiot, basically. So she's really struggling. She's trying to balance her career. She's trying to balance being a single mother, and she makes some neglectful mistakes when taking care of her daughter that end her up in the School for Good Mothers. And then we have to watch her navigate this and see the pressures that are put on her while she's in this school trying to be a better mother, and just like the fucked up shit that goes down, and like the things that are said. Like, it really is just an entire comment on how like women and mothers specifically are viewed in the society, and how much they have to give, and how forgiving they have to be, and tender and caring. And my God, this book just wraps it all up in a bow. And I think if you're on vacation and on a little holiday and you have the mental capacity for it, it's a really good read. And also I found it very bingeable. The first 100 pages were a little bit slower for me. I still liked them, but I wasn't like binging them. But once I got past the first 100 pages, I was like gripped. I think I read the last 200 pages in like a day. Something I'd want to read if I had an unexpected flight delay. I think Funny Story by Emily Henry, but hear me out and listen to me. This makes a lot of sense to me. Funny Story follows Daphne, who is engaged to Peter. And then stupid ass Peter goes on his bachelor trip, and he is with his childhood best friend Petra. And then Peter and Petra are like, oh my God, we should like maybe like get together. And then Peter comes home the next day after his bachelor party, and he literally tells Daphne, hey, I'm gonna go run away with Petra. We're like in love. And she's like, oh, okay, go for it, I guess. And then Daphne has nowhere to go because Daphne was living with Peter, who just kicked her out. And she ends up moving in with Petra's ex, Miles. And they live together. And the rest is history. But the reason why I think this is a really good flight delay book is for a couple reasons. One of them being that this will be 100% available in any of the airport bookstores because it's Emily Henry and she's very popular, so it'll be easily accessible. Second reason being, this book, we watched Daphne really like slow down, and she was kind of always like go, like always like progressing her life and moving to the next stage, and then she kind of is forced to like go backwards a little bit and slow down and appreciate these slow moments. And I think your flight delay is a little slow moment that's quite similar. And maybe you're on a flight because you're going for a different life change or trying a new experience, but that's what Daphne is doing a lot of this. She's trying new things, she's falling in love with a new city, she's really like becoming herself. And I think it's like really like nice in the airport for that reason, because usually when you're in an airport, you're like doing a new experience or trying something else out. Couldn't recommend that book enough. I love it. The writing isn't spectacular. It's not insane, but it's just a good fucking time, and I think you should read it. A book that feels like I'm watching a romantic comedy movie. Funny You Should Ask by Elissa Sussman. This is so funny because I'm like, I'm not a romance person, but I am recommending you 2 romances in a row, which is really weird because I literally only own 2 romances, and I'm recommending them both to you right now. Funny You Should Ask follows 2 characters. One of them is an interviewer, and one of them is a famous actor. And the interviewer interviews the famous actor 10 years ago, and they kind of get entangled, and then they're also interviewing each other 10 years later, and it goes back from like then versus now, or like past and present the entire time, and we kind of get to see like what unraveled in their relationship beforehand, what's happening in their relationship now, if they're going to get together, if they ever got together in the past, and we learn about them as they're going on. And I think it just like with the constantly going back and forth, I found it really engulfing and like really fast paced, so I was constantly learning like really valuable information from both sides. And yeah, I think you would just like really like it if you're looking for like that romantic comedy engulfing vibe. Okay, one last book suggestion, because this video I've already been filming for like 50 minutes, which is crazy. Oh yes, this one. When You're Yearning for Sisterhood and Female Friendships. Me all the time. I'm gonna recommend you Shokus Smile by Choi and Eunyoung. This book is a short story collection, and I just feel like a lot of the stories hit on like female friendships, familial relationships, kind of like the sisterhood like you mentioned, and just like coming of age and grappling with these like weird anxieties that we have, and like just like what it is to grow up as a woman. And I think that this book just touches on so many themes, and it's just, I don't know, I really think if you're just looking for like commentary on like friendships and yearning for those moments in our lives and like being a young woman, I really think you'll enjoy this book. I think it is so intelligent in the way that it speaks about these topics, and I think you're really, really gonna like it. Okay, that's all the book suggestions I have for you today. If you've made it this far, comment a coffee cup because like you're a real one. I love you so much. If you want to subscribe to me, I wouldn't hate it. I would maybe even like it, actually. I'd love you forever and ever and ever. I hope you're having an amazing day. If you want any more videos like this and you have any video suggestions, leave them in the comments below or DM me on Instagram. I reply to all my DMs. Don't you worry, babe. I love you so much. Have an amazing day. Cheers!